Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, Homecoming, Day 1, Day 2. This past weekend in Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is pretty much the home here lately for Game Changer Wrestling for the most part. Two great shows. We all know what's happened in the news over the weekend. We all seen Twitter. We all know the result of the main event. Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray, and Dave LaGreca were actually talking about it this morning for an hour plus. They had an interview with Mack Cardona. The fact that Game Changer Wrestling went from this niche promotion doing death matches to their world champion walking out of the AEW Dynamite challenging Chris Jericho to now Busted Open Radio is talking about their main event of their Day 1 show. It's crazy. Have you seen here on our sports show? You've seen the videos. I've done multiple videos on Game Changer Wrestling. I am a fan. Well, one time I wasn't a fan, but the more I watch the deathmatch style wrestling, it is a niche. It is a unique, just like Lucha Libre, just like strong style, British strong style, Japanese strong style. It's just kind of a form of wrestling that either you like it or you hate it. It's just like WWE, AEW, you like it or you hate it. Big fan here. Definitely got both shows paid for them on Fight TV. We're going to run down the card of both shows, kind of talk about everything that's going on, and kind of give my opinion on what's next and what I would like to see this go. First match on the card from Saturday, we had Marko Stunt versus Starboy Charlie. Marko Stunt, we've seen him on AEW Dynamite. I mean, he's talented, little short guy. I mean, obviously when you put him up against a Luchasaurus or against, a Jungle Boy or even the Jerichos of the world, it's kind of a size mismatch. But you know what? Going up against Starboy Charlie is about the same size. It was actually a pretty good little match. Both uber talented guys. Obviously, they wouldn't be in professional wrestling business if they were not talented. Marko Stunt did get the victory. I give it 3 1/4. So it's a good match. Next up, we had Tony Deppen, former Ring of Honor television champion. He actually lost it at Best in the World. He's actually came out on multiple Game Changer shows and Beyond Wrestling shows carrying that Ring of Honor television title. That's the kind of cool thing about independent wrestling. You have these guys like a Tony Deppen going to Ring of Honor, going to Beyond Wrestling, winning titles, and actually bringing those titles to these other promotions. It's like, whoa, it kind of gets the eyes, hey, if I'm a Beyond Wrestling fan only, I've never watched Ring of Honor. Oh, wait, Tony Deppen's a Ring of Honor champion? I'm going to tune in now. Same way with Nick Gage coming out in AEW Dynamite. Now I'm going to turn it into Game Changer Wrestling. I'd love to see if there's any more views because of that. But Tony Deppen getting the victory here. Ninja Mack is this wannabe Lucha Libre style. He overdoes every move. He does this moonsault or backflips in the ring. He'll literally backflip from one side of the ring to the other and then out. It's like, dude, doing a move just to do a move isn't as impactful than doing just the moonsault over the ring. But still, both guys are very talented. I'm going to give it a 3-star. Next up, we have Nolan Edwards versus AJ Gray. Oh, great match. AJ Gray is, again, I've kind of talked about him a little bit on here, that hybrid wrestler that, go out there and brawl with you, but he can also do a moonsault. He can also do this. He can also get uber aggressive, too, as well, and do the kind of the death match stuff. He ended up getting the victory over Nolan Edwards. I ended up giving it 3.5. It was a really good match. One of my favorite matches of the card. Next up, we had Grim Reefer versus Too Cold Scorpio. Yeah, this is Scorpio that was in WWE back in the 90s. He is still wrestling. He is still not good. Grim Reefer, he's okay. I mean, when you take him out of the death match part of the wrestling, he's kind of Too Cold Scorpio. He's just not. Yeah, he's older, so I mean that's kind of where that is. He did get the victory. I did give it 2 3/4. Next up, if you want to see violence, you want to see death match wrestling at one of the best of the weekend, we had the GCW Ultraviolent title on the line versus the Big Japan Wrestling Deathmatch title holder. So Alex Colon, who owns the GCW Ultraviolet title, Drew Parker, who over the weekend had deathmatch in Big Japan Pro Wrestling and won the BJW Deathmatch title. We had title versus title here at Homecoming Day 1. There was some glass broke. There was some There were some barbed wire used. Yeah, there's some light tubes used. There were some tables used. If you could beat somebody with it, it was used. These two guys, and just sometimes no selling stuff works, and sometimes it doesn't. They sold a lot of stuff, but there was some, yeah. I mean, literally, you thought it was going to be 3 counters of 1. It's like, whoa, yeah, these guys are just no selling each other. Drew Parker got the victory over Alex Colon I give it 4. It was an amazing match. If you like that kind of style of wrestling, definitely got to check that out. But yeah, Drew Parker now double champion, the GCW Ultraviolent champion and the BJW Deathmatch champion. Then next up, we had a 6-man scramble match. We had Shane Mercer, Atticus Cogar, Jordan Oliver, who I'm really big on, Brayden Lee, Dante Leon, and Jack Cartwheel. Jack Cartwheel, he basically does a lot of cartwheels. I've seen him a little bit in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood earlier this year. I mean, he's talented. I mean, he's there. Dante Leon, up-and-comer, still kind of green in the ring. Definitely see big things from him eventually. Brayden Lee, pretty talented guy. He just needs to kind of catch that break, and he's going to get going up. Jordan Oliver, I mean, he's kind of that next wrestler to get to AEW and or NXT. I've talked about Blake Christian on here before, who is now, what is his name? Trey Baxter in NXT. Ari Starling in NXT was formerly known as Alex Zane. A couple of guys that I've followed the last couple of years. Jordan Oliver is kind of right there. He's the next guy. He's in MLW doing a lot of stuff. Running a faction called Injustice with Myron Reed. He does a faction on the Indies called Young, Dumb, and Broke. There's a 5-man faction. Uber talented. I cannot wait to see him explode on the national circuit eventually. Atticus Cogar. This dude is just prototypical heel. I don't give a fuck. I will kick your ass in a death match. Doesn't look like he beat a death match. He's just kind of a smaller guy. Uber freaking talented. Shane Mercer, part of Iron Beast with KDB, one of the powerful tag teams in Game Changer Wrestling. But Atticus Cogar getting the victory here over these other 5 guys in a 3.5-star match. Next up, first time I've ever seen him. First time, Game Changer Wrestling, tag team titles on the line. The titles were lost to a team in a Mexican promotion, and they were defending them. They haven't been back to the United States since. Jimmy Lloyd and G-Raver end up getting hold of those titles in that Mexican promotion, brought them back to Game Changer and defended them here for the first time in like 2 or 3 years on U.S. soil. They defended them against, what was the official name of this faction? Second Gear Crew, I believe it is, what they're actually physically called. Let me look this up here. Yeah, Second Gear Crew. Mance Warner and Matthew Justice. Also part of the Second Gear Crew is AJ Gray, and who is the 4th man of that faction? Holy heck, I forgot now. Alex Colon. How did I forget that? So yeah, these guys are just... Mance Warner, I refer to him as a modern-day Stone Cold. He is the catch-as-catch-can wrestling, beer drinking, fans love it, heel in the ring kind of wrestler. Matthew Justice, we've actually seen him on AEW Dynamite. And then Dynamite on Dark. He did Dark Elevation. Matt Justice, I'm like, hey, it's Matthew Justice, what the hell, man? But yeah, them going up against G-Raver and Jimmy Lloyd. The fact that G-Raver and Jimmy Lloyd lasted as a tag team long enough to win the titles shocked me. And I say that because during this entire match, they were basically feuding with one another. And oh yeah, 2 years ago, Jimmy Lloyd tried to kill G-Raver. They had a match about 2 years ago. They said G-Raver came off the top rope. It was kind of a botch move. I think he's supposed to come in the ring, but he went out of the ring instead. When he landed he hit the apron like this, and his head hit the concrete floor in the back of his head. Yeah, they thought he was actually going to not make it. But he was able to recover from that. It took him a couple of years. He finally came back. He's just that uber kind of, when you think of death match wrestling, you think of G-Raver and Jimmy fucking Lloyd. But yeah, these two basically going after each other during the match. That opened the door up for the Second City crew to get the victory here. Overall, the match was good. Mance Warner and Matthew Justice, your new Game Changer Wrestling Tag Team Champions. 3 1/4 star match. Next up, we had Effy versus Frontman Jah. This was kind of the let's bring the crowd down until we blow him up at the main event. Effy, he's that, I don't know, just fun-loving, kind of crazy dude that I just don't know, I mean, how else to completely describe him, but he's unique. He's one of a kind. Him getting the victory there over Frontman Jah in 2.5 star match. Then our main event, Game Changer Wrestling World Title on the line in a death match. We had champion Nick Gage versus Mack Cardona. Mack Cardona showed up in Game Changer. They didn't write the exact date down. I know at draft day, I think it was draft day, in Zombie Walk, we had Dean Ambrose show up. And then it was Ashes to Ashes and Draft Day. I think there's those two. There was 2 of those 3 right through there where Moxley showed up and got in the face of Nick Gage, and they kind of had a little brawl, literally. And I'm like, okay, you can cross these 2 genres. I'm good with that. You know, Moxley was actually teaming with Eddie Kingston and Nick Gage back in CCW as Murder Death Kill gang. So they have history. They go way back. And then Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona showed up. I want to say it was Zombie Walk, maybe? I don't think it was the Outlaw Mud show. But he comes in and does the whole little... He was covered up like head to toe like a druid. Does this the shoulder shake that Mox does. So everybody thought it was Moxley. He attacks Nick Gage, pulls the mask off, and it was freaking Matt Cardona. And of course, Gage goes on social media and just blows up freaking Zack Ryder and just like, who's this asshole that you fucking Nick Gage? Oh yeah, it was, I mean, all over social media back then. So they created this match. Matt Cardona was funny when the match when they started doing the entrances. His Zack Ryder theme played for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then they stopped and played his theme he uses in Impact Wrestling. He comes out. I mean, the crowd's flipping him off. I mean, he comes out. He literally walked in the arena heel without even trying to be heel. Yeah, I mean, the crowd was all over him. Of course, Nick Gage, if you've seen him come out in a Game Changer show, you know he is over as fuck. I mean, they literally mob him coming out. I mean, the only thing he's not done yet is done the mosh, and everybody basically carried him to the ring. So, I mean, literally they show the camera backstage. You see it on social media, I think it's on Twitter. You can see as soon as the curtain opened, I mean, mobbed him. I mean, he'll play the crowd, kind of, hey, here's my bell. Hey, guys, what's up? High five. He's like, guys, get the hell out of my way. I'm going to go kill him. So, yeah, this was a true death match. I know the first few minutes of it, you had Nick Gage taking a few spots. He got busted open early. You know, Matt Cardona was wearing gloves. I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be trash. I had a feeling Cardona was not going to take a spot. Oh, no, he took spots. Nick Gage got the pizza cutter out and just sliced him right here. He got cut in the arm at one point. He was cut. I mean, he was over the back. I mean, light tubes to the back. He was his first. When you swing a light tube, if you watch enough of these, it's not you don't. I mean, you just do it. You don't hesitate. You don't go. Zack Ryder, his first swinging a light tube, he was like. Gage taking a bundle of like 5 and it's like, yeah. I mean, they were setting up glass tables, putting each other through it. Basically 2 chairs, piece of glass. There you go. I've never seen that much glass in a freaking Game Changer ring. And I've watched for 2 years. Even one of the fans called in the Busted Open this morning and said they've gone to several GCW shows. They've never seen a crowd that hot. I mean, they were that hot for Nick Gage. They were just down, booing and flipping off and cussing Matt Cardona. He was playing up to it. It was great, actually. He was literally just like, a few people flip the fans off and stuff. Game Changer is a unique environment. I would love to go to a show. Will not be sitting ringside if I do. I'll be sitting in the back. I don't wear covered glass. But yeah, I mean, Matt Cardona, he bled. He went through the whole ringer. He didn't like it, he said on the Busted Open Radio interview today, but he did it. He was covered. His shirt was white to start out with. It was red when he left. Our new Game Changer Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, Matt Cardona. He got belted. It reminded me of 96 Bash at the Beach times 5. I mean, beer bottles, soda bottles, everything you could think of. People were just chucking at him. I mean, literally, he even said one of the security guys was like, dude, we need to get the fuck out of here. I mean, that place was going to riot. I mean, you remember the ECW stuff, if Cena wins, we riot, and some of the stuff they had going on. But Bully Ray was talking about that. I'm like, yeah, that crowd was just obnoxious with this. I mean, it was Game Changer Wrestling. It's a niche market. There's about 1,500 people there, so it's not like it's WrestleMania size, 100,000 people. It's literally just a small group of people that, did people tune in because they saw Nick Gage on AEW Dynamite, or because they watched Dark Side of the Ring, or the people that tuned out because they saw that. Because of his background, he's been arrested. He does drugs. He has done drugs. He was arrested for bank robbery. He, was a drug addict. He cleaned his life up, went to jail. He's here now. I mean, his brother got killed. I mean, he's that prototypical, second chance kind of guy, and that's what Game Changer has done for him. He was never, with that background, he was never going to go mainstream in wrestling, WWE, WCW, or whatever back in the day, TNA. He got into this, and he adores this. This is his thing. I mean, the crowd is just, hyped for him, and they just think he's the greatest thing in the world, which I think he's talented as hell in this niche market. Now, the match he's going to have with Chris Jericho on Dynamite, it's a no rules match. I mean, is it going to be as bloody as this was? Doubtful. I don't know if TNT will go for that. Is it going to be blood? Oh, fuck yeah, there better be blood. Now, the only way I don't see, because even he said on social media to Gage, Jericho's not beating him. He'll die before Jericho beats him. So the only way you can actually make this legit and make this look okay, not make Nick Gage look weak on his debut on TV, is the only way to do that would be to have Gage kind of winning the match, him getting over, have Matt Cardona come out with the GCW title as a distraction, attack him or whatever, hit him with the title. I mean, fuck, who cares? It's a no rules match. Jericho gets the pinfall. That continues the storyline with Jericho and MJF. We all know MJF will end up facing either at All Out and or Full Gear. This gets Nick Gage over, makes him look strong, but also carries that storyline with him and Matt Cardona. And that's the only negative thing now about Impact Wrestling being taped. You can't have Matt Cardona show up on Impact with the Game Changer title talking about it because the fucking show's already taped. So you're going to have Matt Cardona on that show on Impact probably on Thursday, not start up, not with the GCW title because it's already been taped. But we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I definitely think that having Matt Cardona on this card got it mainstream, which is awesome. We got Busted Open talking about it for an hour and a half. They had an interview with him. People don't like it because of Nick Gage, of his history. People don't like it because of what it is. Either you like it or you hate it. I mean, simple as that. That's the cool thing about being pro wrestling fans. It's 10% fact, 90% opinion. My opinion, I like it. Another person's opinion, it's okay. Another person's opinion, I hate it. Voice your opinion. This is my opinion. All right, day 2. We got to run down that card because that's the one thing that they didn't do a Busted Open. They only talked about that main event in it, but I'm talking about all of it. We first match on the card, we had Jordan Oliver versus Jack Cartwheel. Jordan Oliver is working on his submission game. He's always kind of in the high flying. He's always done the kind of brawling. He's kind of built up. He's put on some body mass, put on some muscle mass. He did get the victory here by submission, which is kind of cool to see from him. I give it 3.25. Speaking of submission, we had one of the best submission guys in pro wrestling, the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham of Ring of Honor, in here versus Starboy Charlie. Starboy Charlie, he did not go over in either match in the 2 days, but I think he got over. Uber talented. He was right there with Jonathan Gresham when it came to mat wrestling. He almost won this a couple times, but Gresham was able to get to the ropes and break the hold. Gresham ended up winning by submission, 3.5-star match. Next up, we had the Game Changer Wrestling Tag Titles on the line with the new champions, Second Gear Crew, Mance and Matthew Justice, defending title versus Dante Leon and Ninja Mack. This was just a beatdown. I mean, it was bad. Dante Leon and Ninja Mack had a couple spots, but not really. I mean, it was more or less just a brawl. Mance Warner and Matthew Justice took it to him. And they ended up getting the victory. I give it 2-star. Next up, we had the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickenson versus Cesar Bononi. Yes, Cesar Bononi from AEW Dynamite and part of the Wingmen with JD Drake and them. Chris Dickenson actually had some personal issues going on. He actually talked about after the match. I guess his grandmother passed, and his mom and everyone said, "You need to go do this show." He almost didn't do it. And they're like, this is your family. This is what you're about. It's pro wrestling, independent pro wrestling. You need to go do the show. He went out there and he put on a match it was a great match. I think it got Cesar Bononi over a little bit. I know in AEW I kind of like him, but here it's like, that's kind of a different vibe. But yeah, he stood right there toe to toe with Chris Dickinson. Two hostages going at it. Dickinson did get the victory and ended up giving it 3.25. The next match, we had a death match. We had Joey Janella versus Atticus Cogar. This match, it was more of Atticus Cogar is this heel kind of, he runs with a faction called 440, and they end up disrespecting Ricky Morton back on the Outlaw Mud Show back in June 19th. And Joey Janela was out here kind of in honor of him. Yeah, Ricky Morton of the oh my god, the big faction. What the hell are they called? Wow, my brain just stopped working. Midnight Express. Not Midnight Express, is it? Rock and Roll Express. Wow. Ooh, Rock and Roll Express. Totally forgot their tag team name. They're still wrestling, by the way. Ricky Morton wrestled in Laramie, Wyoming. That made him wrestle in all 50 states. I saw the review up here at Urban Sports Show. This match was just crazy. Joey Janela, good bad boy from AEW, got the victory, 3.5-star match. Watching him perform on AEW with Sonny Kiss and watching him perform a death match is like two different genres for him. Oh, I did leave out at the Nick Gage Mack Cardona match. The end of it was really overbooked, really WWE style booking. You had Jericho's music play, which distracted Nick Gage. I'm watching going, holy shit! Oh, fucking thing here, damn. Then we had 440 come out, this faction. You had the four guys of 440, and then their leader, Ricky Shane Page, come out, helping Nick Gage. You're like, oh, so Ricky Shane Page went from the leader of 440, who were attacking Nick Gage. Now Ricky Shane Page, RSP, is helping Nick Gage against 440. So he went from the heel when he came out to a face right there in the crowd. The crowd responded to that. Oh, you're helping Nick Gage, right? We'll cheer for you now. RSP, RSP. And then when he, dick kicked Nick Gage, the crowd went heel again. I had a double turn. I love those. And then, of course, the whole time this was going on, you had Matt Cardona sitting over in the corner. After all that, then he gets the pin on Nick Gage. So, there was a lot of... It's not normally how a Game Changer main event is booked. So that it had Matt Cardona written all over it. All right, back to the second day. I actually hit my mind right there. Next up, we had a tag match. We had Brayden Lee and Cole Radrick versus Iron Beast, KDB, and Shane Mercer. Brayden Lee and Cole Radrick, it's a young team, young guys who are still trying to find their niche in wrestling. versus Iron Beast. Again, they are beasts. They are brawlers. They will just beat your face in and then ask you what your name is. Yeah, that made no sense. But literally, they'll rip your head off and hand it to you. But KDB and Mercer getting the victory here in 2 3/4 star match. We had Ruckus versus Calvin Tankman next up. Yeah, this match wasn't really nothing. Ruckus is an older deathmatch guy. He's older is keyword there. Calvin Tankman, who is actually with MLW. Uber talented guy. He's probably bigger than what Mark Henry was at his biggest, but he's athletic as Kevin Owens, I guess you would say. Just that big, kind of the modern day big man who is very athletic, can do moonsaults, can do all that kind of stuff, but yet is massive and go out there and just brawl with people. Tankman get the victory here. I ended up giving it 2 3/4. We did have a women's match. We had the return of Penelope Ford, who again part of AEW, versus Alley Catch. If you've never seen Alley Catch is probably one of the top women in deathmatch wrestling. She can do a deathmatch. She can do the mainstream stuff. She can do a little bit of everything. She actually teamed up with Effy. Bushi is the name of the team. They actually had a match on the show before this, which was You Only Die Once 2 weeks ago. And so, but yeah, Penelope Ford get the victory, which she's returning. She probably was. I give it 2.5. I mean, it was watchable, nothing major. Next up, our main event on night 2 was also a death match. Like night 1, we had the double champion, the Game Changer Wrestling Ultraviolent champion, and the BJW Deathmatch champion, Drew Parker, teaming up against Jimmy fucking Lloyd. No titles on the line. So it was a non-title match. Whew, this match was good. Yeah, when you start going through tables and glass and light tubes and nothing phases you, either one of you, this was a match. I mean, it had the spots, it had the dives, it had all that. Drew Parker got the victory, which you kind of knew he would, being in fact he's double champion. I gave it 4-star. It was a great match. One other thing on that tag match, the tag title match, Mance Warner and Matthew Justice, they were stacking tables in the ring. So they brought chair in, put a door down. We don't have normal, but we had doors. We don't use tables. Basically made a table up, 2 chairs in the door. 2 chairs in the door on top of that. So you had it stacked up. Did a third one. So you had 3 up in a row. Then they had ladder fluid. So they're gonna light this all on fire. That would be pretty interesting. So they're spraying freaking lighter fluid all over it. They had these 2 big lighters, the ones you click, like the furnace type lighters. Neither would light at first. You had people in the crowd chucking lighters in the ring. So they took this little lighter, lit the table on fire a little bit. It started burning a little bit, then it burned itself out. Then it burned a little bit, burned itself out. It's like, oh my god. It was like the exploding ring match that AEW had. It's like, yeah, I failed miserably. They just finally suplexed the guys from the front through it. It's like, oh my god. But yeah, I mean, that's Game Changer Wrestling. You get a hot crowd. You get glass light tubes. You get panes of glass. You get doors. You get anything that's not nailed down. They throw them into the crowd. The crowd is hot from the start to finish. But if you've never seen Game Changer Wrestling, definitely check it out. I'm a fan. But yeah, can't wait to see the next step in Nick Gage on AEW. Matt Cordova holding the Game Changer title. Obviously, eventually we'll get a Nick Gage, Matt Cordova 2. Now we do have some shows coming up for Game Changer. Let's see here. There's a show on August 7th in LA. No Signals in the Hills. We have a show in Las Vegas on the 20th, Off the Rails. We have an FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling collaboration. We have an Honor Slam collaboration in Detroit. We have a show on the 2nd of September in Detroit. And then we have 3 shows on Labor Day weekend, All Out weekend in Chicago. We have a Black Label Pro Collaborative show. Then we have Art of the Games and Effy's Big Gay Brunch Chicago. So yeah, there's lots of Game Changer stuff coming up. It's typically all available on Fight TV. That's where I get it at. A lot of those double shows and like probably those 4 shows, the Detroit show and then the 3 Chicago shows, more than likely they'll be a bundle. Definitely the 3 Chicago shows will be a bundle and Fight. I would love for them to have their own streaming service. I quit buying them on Fight, but hey, that is what it is, right? But that's going to wrap up the Game Changer Wrestling Homecoming Day 1, Day 2 review. As always, please comment below, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at RobSportsShow. If you like what you're seeing here, please let me know. I do want to do more Game Changer Wrestling stuff. So maybe before the next show, which the next show is August 7th. Is that a week from Saturday? I might try to do a best of Game Changer 2021. I'm thinking these 2 main events will be on there. And maybe the Ultraviolent title match, if I remember correctly. But that's going to wrap it up from here. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.